Oh, right. I know how these things go. Welcome to the Warrior Shrine. My name is Django, and with me, as always, is Garth. Not Garth. Sorry. Temp. What's up, Temp?
Party on, Django.
Party on, Temp. We have a special guest tonight. In the shrine, it's
your boy, Cyborg.
It's your boy!
Corn dog.
Jesus, if we could get 100,000 likes before the end of this podcast, that would be...
We'll do something. We'll continue making things.
We'll say thanks. We'll make sure to thank you guys right at the top of the next one. It's going to be great.
Make sure you smash that subscribe button.
Well, don't mash it. Don't mash it, because, like, if you do it twice, you unsubscribe, right?
Nah.
Yeah, you subscribe, and then you click it again, and you unsubscribe. It's like a toggle.
Look. Don't ruin this for me.
Learn how to YouTube. We're gonna talk about some shit. The Warrior Shrine. You know, we talk about. I've been saying that stupid thing that's really confusing. We talk about the lore of gameplay, which doesn't make any sense at all. We're talking about gameplay. We're gonna keep talking about gameplay. It's gonna be fun. You guys are gonna love it. We're gonna kick things off with a amazing question. One amazing question right here at the top, submitted by our Lord and Savior Evan. At least our Irish one. He submitted this. By the way, shout out to Test Your Might. They've been sponsoring us. What else have they been doing, Cyborg? Unmute your mic and tell us right now.
What? What else have they been doing? What do you mean?
What did Test Your Might? What do they do for us? Be nice.
They sponsor us.
Oh.
They post our stuff up.
See?
They share our things.
Yeah.
They retweet.
See this? All this shit that you just said is shit that I was wanting to know, and you were trying to be like, oh, what do you mean, what do they do? Here's what they do. They go through and they share us and they tweet us. Come on, man.
What you're doing right now is exactly why you're getting those downvotes.
Oh, fuck. Don't talk.
You might want to just roll it back. Roll it again.
Don't talk.
Start from the top.
Don't bring those up. I'm trying to be in my happy space right now, man. Come on. We're going to get back to something happy. Evan sent us questions. This one is for Temp specifically. Let me see. I'll read the question, Temp, and then you can just fucking, put yourself in it. All right. This one, Evan says, this one is for the big bad at Temp. I paraphrased that. The rest of this is not paraphrased. Sell me on Li Mei, he says. Let's imagine we have 12 spots for characters on MK11 once the usual suspects are accounted for. Why should Li Mei get one? She's already struck me as a bland character that never really developed, and I've often wondered how she has some really avid fans. Interesting. Oh, you want to stop right there? I can keep going, but you want to take...
Oh, no, I didn't know there was more. I'm sorry, continue.
Sorry, I was taking a pause to ponder. That was my bad. I'm aware of the irony of asking that while being one of Jackie's 4 fans in a Kano main and MKX... Wait, I ended that way too late. I'm aware of the irony of asking that. While being one of Jackie's 4 fans in Kano main and a Kano main MKX, yeah, you're fucking weird. And for the hat trick, what do you think of MK11's... What do you think MK11's gimmick will be? All interactive games? Fuck that one real quick. We're gonna go back to those first 2 bits. Sell him on Li Mei, Temp.
Okay, well, first of all, sup, Evan? Good hearing from you again, of course. Let's talk about the blandness first. I think when people say she's bland, usually they're talking about the design itself. She's basically just a woman. And they're usually talking about the game she's from, which is it's 3D era PS2 Mortal Kombat.
She's a woman.
So yeah,
all right.
I'll admit that a lot of her appeal is very abstract. Some of it's not. Some of it is the sex appeal. That's what draws a lot of her fans. But a lot of the good stuff, the really good things about Li Mei, are very abstract. I think anime fans really are drawn to Li Mei because a lot of her plot points are extremely anime. People like anime because it's kind of like tragedy porn. They like seeing bad things happen to good people. And Li Mei just got fucked over hard. She won the Deadly Alliance tournament, whatever that consisted of. We're not told a whole lot about that. But her prize was basically getting her soul stolen and put inside one of the Dragon King warriors. So that sucks. Like, that's horrible. I remember playing Deadly Alliance and thinking, like, that's so sad. Well, why did you even show this to me, game? And then after that, you say they didn't develop her, but I feel like they did develop her. After that segued into her becoming Bo Rai Cho's protege. which I think is very interesting. I
You're
think
talking a lot about lore right now.
Oh yes, no, and there's more. We're not even done.
I just want to let you know,
way,
like we're in the red as far as lore goes.
we're past the orange now.
You're just
This is
fucking
getting serious.
just so you know. Just I want to let you know what the meters are showing. You go ahead.
Emergency strobe lights. Oh yeah. So and after that, in a way, she's almost in the same shoes of the former Liu Kang and Kung Lao and Deception. I think that's very interesting, and I think that relationship is interesting. I think the sympathetic, master versus the tortured apprentice. I love that dynamic so much. Now, once again, her ending is horribly tragic. She basically becomes, the Dragon King's Bey. I think that's super unfortunate. Razor likes that ending. I don't like it, not because I'm against a tragic ending, but it's just, to me, it felt like a very unfortunate conclusion. But even in Armageddon, she kind of rebounds. In Armageddon, it's kind of implied that even though she's in the Netherrealm, she's okay. She's doing all right. As all right as she can be. She's trying to fight Shinnok. I think that's really interesting. So, lore-wise, I think there is a lot there. I think the character's really interesting. It's kind of the same reason I like Smoke, to be honest with you. A lot of the reasons I like Li Mei are the reasons I like Smoke. They're both tragic characters who kind of got screwed over, and neither of them had happy endings. Now, that part I don't like, but it's true for both characters. So that has a lot to do with why I like Li Mei. Let's talk about gameplay next, and we'll get to design last. Gameplay-wise, she's representative of a very specific time in movie making when sort of like the Chinese martial arts style was very popular in American cinema, and that was due to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, probably in part due to The Matrix as well, a little bit, both those movies, but Crouching Tiger was huge. I saw the movie in theaters with like 4 of my friends, and there were 2 reasons we saw it. One, we thought the movie was going to be good, but the other reason is because that was the debut of the Lord of the Rings trailer. And I was a huge Lord of the Rings fan back in middle school, so yeah, she just does that style well. I love the flying punch that is so tight. It'd be cool if they would animate strings. I think that would be silly, but I like it. I love cheesy shit like that. I love the gymnastics. I love all the agility. Like things like that are kind of what attract me to characters like Nightcrawler, or just any sort of like really agile, movement heavy characters. I think that's really cool. She's just such a great martial artist, and just I don't know. She does the Outworld representative very well. The Outworld civilian is just so interesting to me. You don't see that. Everyone from Outworld is a fucking weirdo. I like the idea that we have kind of like Outworld culture personified in Li Mei, and the design. I like it. Like, I mean, it's. I see why people think it's boring, and I guess we kind of have to address the sex appeal. That is why a lot of people like the design, but I think in MKX especially, there is an elegance to it. When she's not dressed like a crack whore, she does look very elegant to me and very flowery. The weird wide pants are kind of weird in Deadly Alliance, but I feel like they remedied that well in MKX. And even the Dragon King armor, even though it's probably my least favorite costume, I think it looks good. I think it aged well, but I like the cocaine pirate costume a lot in Deception. That's probably, I think, my favorite Li Mei costume, just because it's so representative of that era. And I think, like I said, like, I don't know, it's Li Mei.
I did really like her appearance in MKX, I gotta say.
Everyone did. I think, they made her a little too sensitive, a little too, like, reserved, which I would have made her a little more assertive. But yeah, say more, Django. Because this question is to you and Cyborg as much as it is to me, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I mean, you can fucking try to share if you want, but he put a big fat @temp right at the top of that.
Well, I'm willing to share. This banquet is for all.
All right. Well, I mean, in MKX, I kind of like what they did because I feel like they kind of aged her up slightly, so she had a little bit of a. Not quite a mom vibe, but she could have it if they wanted her to. Very easily, I feel like. Like, she doesn't feel as old as, like, a Bo Raicho, really. But, and maybe not even as old as Sonya is now, possibly. But, she's also not, like, fucking, she doesn't seem like Katana age. And these ages are weird, because we're talking about outworldy people or whatever, but you get what I'm saying? And I feel like if that's the case, we don't really have that archetype so much in MK9 right now. I'm MK9 since MK9 and forward right now, which I'm kind of okay with. I'm not saying make her a MILF, but I'm saying I kind of like the idea of her being not, Kitana and Melina type ages. I don't know though. What do you think? How do you feel about that?
The age thing is hard because when I look at her face, I can't tell if she's supposed to be older or they just animated her face badly. I can't tell. Her face does need work in parts.
Did you like her face in MK? This conversation feels weird, but
I actually like her face better in Deception. Her face looks a little off to me. Sometimes, like in the cinematic trailer, I thought it looked good. In game, it looked a little weird in parts, but the costume looks really good.
Yeah. In MKX, I really felt like they were trying to model her after, like you said, that actress that was in the Crouching Tiger movies and the Street Fighter movies. She played Chun-Li. Like she looked like that actor to me. She's on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. now.
I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, she's that show's Black Widow basically. Which I don't, like I said, I don't hate for her, especially if she is, like, relatively speaking, for in Outworld years, something like maybe even like a big sister type character. I wouldn't hate that. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Well, it's hard when Razor's not here to talk about lore, because I'm going off memory. I used to know so much more lore, but it's going with time, unfortunately. But I can't remember if Outworldians age the same way as the Earthrealm race. I can't
you're right.
remember if they age the same way or not.
I don't think it lines up that well. I don't think that lines up that well with, like, DA and Deception or Armageddon. Like, like Razor said from time to time, I do subscribe to the idea of the multiverse thing. This is a whole different timeline, a whole different universe of the Mortal Kombat universe, so she could be a little different in age than she was last time, maybe, possibly, who knows, whatever, weird lore questions still going, but I don't have the investment. This is definitely a factor. I don't have the investment in her Deadly Alliance, Deception, Armageddon stuff and aesthetics and all that like you do. So
I do, yeah. I'm very big into that, but I will agree the new costume is the best costume she's ever had, so let's hope that stays. Let's hope she's even in the game. I don't know, like, those are my three dimensions of why I like the character, but I certainly don't think she's bland. At least, is Johnny Cage bland? Like, I think if you just look at Johnny Cage, he's a dude with, like, workout pants and no shirt, but if you have to know who the character is,
no, yeah,
you're really
right.
Invested, and I think Li Mei's the same way.
Sonya is bland, okay? And she's a fucking staple of the franchise. Comparatively speaking, Li Mei is fucking the least bland character of Mortal Kombat, which I'm trying to think of really fast again.
Well, at least things happen to Li Mei. Sonya hasn't done anything, and nothing has really happened to her. Like, the grand story of Sonya throughout the ages of Mortal Kombat is she showed up. Like, what is her great achievement other than throwing Kano off of a building in MK3?
No, I agree.
He didn't even die, by the way, so that doesn't even count in my opinion.
The guy's fucking La Cucaracha. No, I think the most interesting thing Sonya's ever done is get married to Johnny and then get divorced. Like, I like that thing. Like, it gives us a sense of her actual fatalities. Whoa.
That was some Freudian shit right there.
It gives us a sense of her personality that she has never ever had, because she's always been, I'm grumpy and angry and don't need help from anybody. I got this. Fucking Briggs out. She's not Briggs. Damn it. I'm gonna fuck up all night. But you know what I mean. Like, even the implication of that, it's not about Johnny. It's about her opening herself up to the idea of a relationship, and then it not working out, and her realizing it and living with that for the rest of her life, which is it's interesting. It's interesting for both of them. That's what I like about Sonya. I like Li Mei because of the whole fugitive thing they gave her in MKX, which made her feel a little bit on the rebound, on the back foot, like, which implies some vulnerability that we've never even gotten from Sonya, really. So again, more interesting than Sonya. Yay, Li Mei.
Yeah, in a way, she was a Revenant before the Revenants were a Revenant. She was the first character to be really indoctrinated. Well, no, that's not true, because the Dragon King manipulated all the MK Deadly Alliance characters. Ermac had to bail their asses out, so, okay, that's not true, but I feel like the theme of indoctrination started heavily with Deception, from not just Johnny Cage, Kung Lao, and Jax, and all those people, but also with Smoke, even. Saibot indoctrinated Smoke, the Dragon King indoctrinated Li Mei. Everyone's getting indoctrinated. PhDs for everybody. So, yeah.
Cyborg, I'm sorry, dude. You came here from the Nethercast.
Yeah, this has to be a little bit disappointing, at least a little
No,
bit.
no, no, no. Actually, I was gonna chime in. I was just letting you guys
Oh, no,
talk about
absolutely.
I got all my
The-
piece made.
The
So
floor is
what I
yours.
wanted to comment on actually is a couple things Temp said I want to basically agree with specifically is I'm with Temp in a couple factors that he mentioned about Li Mei that I gravitate towards, why I like her as well, and why I like some of the characters that I like. Cyrex, for example, you were mentioning tragic stories. Smoke,
Oh, yes.
obviously Cyrex in the original timeline had a story somewhat similar to Smoke. I mean, they were both kind of in the same boat, except for whereas Sector is, on the left side, Smoke is on the right side of the spectrum. Cyrex was basically in the middle of the spectrum. He didn't agree with being turned into a cyborg, but at the same time, he was loyal to the clan, so he went along with it. So I like that there was always that differentiation between the three. And obviously, in the newer timeline, Cyrax adopted pretty much the whole thing, where he was against it and he didn't want any part of it, and then he ended up getting put into it anyways against his will. So it is what it is. But yeah, no, I agree with you in the tragic backstory for a character. I think that's appealing, and I think that's part of why I like Li Mei as well. As far as how Li Mei and Smoke never had their happy ending, that's what I appreciated that they did with Cyrax is they went down the path of giving him his happy ending. I realize I keep saying happy ending.
Charged phrase, isn't it?
Yes, but anyways, he has he has his happy ending. But yeah, no, I appreciated that that path that Cyrax went down, and that's a big reason why I like Cyrax. I don't like Cyrax, the gameplay of Cyrax isn't what drew me in. It was mainly his background, his story, his character. And I think Li Mei has a lot of that tragedy, like you said. And she's just in a lose-lose situation. And I appreciate what she does and the path she does take. And then as far as the other thing I wanted to comment on is characters that are very nimble and quick and know martial arts and are very agile. Like that's what made me want to play Katana in MKX is those qualities. I love characters that are doing back handsprings and the little things like that, or even Katana's like her little fan fluff in the air that she does to avoid things or to stay in the air when she runs across the screen and does her like assassin run or whatever. Like I love all of that type of stuff. The little flips and like you said, the martial arts stuff. Like even Poison Ivy in Injustice 2 has a little bit of that with her. Her like what do they call that, like a butterfly kick where she does like the little side flip kick. Like I love that type of stuff. To me, there's something to be said for that type of. It's not like capoeira. I mean, even that's like a flashy fighting style with like Eddie Gordo and Tekken and stuff. Like it's like a halfway to that. I love that flashy fighting style that just looks really cool. Some people are into like their big bruiser characters, their brawlers. I've always been a guy that's into speed, quickness, agility, flexibility, that kind of stuff. So
well, Jackie Chan was a very big part of our generation, I think.
Yeah.
So we grew up with the movies where the fast karate chops, the split kicks, like all that shit was really, I don't know, because the era before us, I guess closer to like Shadowloo's era, was like the blood sport, best of the best.
But yeah, no, I'm with you on both of those qualities, and that's why to me I liked her in Deadly Alliance. I played her back in Deadly Alliance. She wasn't my main, but I do remember spending some time with her for those reasons because I did like her moves. I like the flip kicks and the cartwheels and all that stuff. That's the kind of stuff I enjoy, and that's the kind of thing I want to see with her when she's brought back. Is I want to see those qualities in her character, and I want to see that story played out and just see what she's doing. So I agree with you. I don't find her bland at all. At face value, like if you just saw a picture of her, yeah, I could see why somebody thinks she's bland, but as you were alluding to with Johnny Cage and Sonya and all these other characters, at face value, you could say that about a lot of characters. There's not many. Well, I can't say there's not many, but like you take a character like Ermac. Yeah, Ermac doesn't really look bland when you look at him. He's a character that at face value you're already intrigued, but not every character needs to be flashy appearance type person. Sometimes you got to dig a little deeper, and I think that's what you get with Li Mei. So
it's funny you say that you didn't main her. Believe it or not, I didn't either. I did not main Li Mei till Armageddon. And even then, it was kind of like split duty. I started out with Smoke and kind of shifted to Li Mei.
Right.
In Deadly Alliance, I made Sub-Zero. And that was because Reptile felt so fucking weird. I wanted to main Reptile.
Yeah.
But Sub-Zero just was a better fit. And obviously, I made Noob Smoke. Of course, I fucking made Noob Smoke.
But yeah, I agree with your points, is what I wanted to chime in on. There are, I mean, Jax to me looks bland. And like I said, there's several characters that at their just first initial appearance, Liu Kang looks bland as hell to me. I know it's going to upset a lot of people, but because there's definitely some passionate Liu Kang fans. But I mean,
like Cage,
you look at him and he just looks like Bruce Lee copy number 100 in a fighting game. Like every fighting game has the Bruce Lee copy, but Liu Kang has his own story, and if you dig deeper, there's more to Liu Kang than just his appearance. So that's Li Mei. I feel like the characters that take the more typical martial arts archetype, like kung fu archetype, they stick closer to those. Yeah, that's what you're gonna get, is a little bit more of a blander appearance at face value. But then once you appreciate the character's story and enjoy their gameplay, then it all comes together. So
it took me years to like Johnny Cage, like years. It wasn't really until Deadly Alliance was I really starting to appreciate the character. It took
for me, it wasn't even until
time.
MK9.
Yeah, even in Deadly Alliance, I didn't play the character. In MK9, that's when I'm like, okay, this is one of my top 15 characters. I love this guy now.
Yeah, MK9 is where they
either, because the Shadow Kick's always been awesome. I've always appreciated the Shadow Kick. It just in the context of the character itself, I never. Yeah.
No, I'm just like, it wasn't until MK9 that I really found him super interesting. Like, I appreciated some of the things. I liked him in the movie and all that good stuff, but as far as his gameplay, I never was like, man, gotta have Johnny Cage in there. But now it's like he's ascended in tier status in terms of how enjoyable he is and interesting he is in the MK9 story mode. Like, seeing his character come to life in the actual game is so much better than what he's had before, I guess. So
yeah, I agree.
Sweet. Fucking, we just Li Mei all over everyone.
Yeah, that was a lot of Li Mei. That was a ton of Li Mei.
How do you feel?
I hope that answered your question, Evan. I hope that helps you see my perspective on why I like the character so much. But go on, Jingo.
No, yeah, I was. You might have convinced me, because I'm not like a fucking entrenched Li Mei fan. I'm not a hater though, so I'm definitely someone who could be swayed. You guys are making her sound good. I don't know. I'd be cool.
I think she's in, honestly. I think she's a very likely candidate from K11.
Oh, so. I think she is too. I think she's a big likely candidate. I'm not going to put any money on her, because that means that she's not going to be in the game. But I think outside of betting...
Yes, please do not put money on Li Mei. I'd strongly appreciate that.
Yeah, outside of that, I think she stands a very, very, very good chance. That was good. Thank you, Evan, for such... Was there anything else that we needed to Li Mei?
Good question, dude. No, I'm all done. Cartwheels are awesome. I don't know how anyone can not like cartwheels. That's the only thing I'll say now.
GG's cartwheels with a K. Yeah, thanks, Tim. Thanks, Cyborg, and thank you, Evan. We're gonna wrap it up. No, we're not. We're gonna move on to the next section now, which is gonna be the most different discussion you could possibly imagine. Now for something completely different. We're going to talk about... Tip, you tell him what we're going to talk about. You tell him. You tell him.
Sometime around early April, they announced a reality TV show for E-League, and it doesn't look good. As a matter of fact, I think it looks really bad. God, it's like Property Brothers, but with fucking FGC members. It's so weird to me.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch this.
I'm not. Some of these people are good people. Like Sherry Jennings is a good person. I'm sure the other people I didn't recognize are.
Yeah, what do you have against Sajam?
Is Sajam on there?
Well, yeah, I saw him I saw Sajam and Tasty Steve. They are both like hosts.
Oh.
Though.
Yeah, they're hosts. Okay, they're not actually participants. Yeah, I was to say, like, they haven't really placed in anything in forever.
No, yeah, they're just fucking. They're guiding us in this journey.
Like Sajam's great competitive contribution was Injustice 1. I don't think he's ever been relevant after that.
Dude, easy. Okay, yeah. He knows. That's why he's commentating.
He's a good commentator, but man, I like JC Steve. And I like Sage a lot. They were actually on Ultra Chen for a good while, and they never really came back after like 2 months, 3 months maybe. But yeah, I like them a lot. But God, I wish they weren't a part of this. This sounds awful. I wish none of the people I cared about were a part of this. Some of them I'm indifferent toward just because I don't know who they are. Like, I'm not terribly familiar with Dayasha. Not familiar with Commander Jesse. I don't know who that is. But Low Tier God is a notorious figure in the community. And I remember there was a really big first attempt between him and Viscount. And I was rooting hard for Viscount. I mean, Low Tier God was talking some mad shit, some horrible things. And thank God Viscount won that first attempt. But it was pumped up hard. They actually photoshopped a picture of them facing each other down, and it made it into they photoshopped it into the Street Fighter, the Street Fighter Alpha 3 cover art, and it looked hilarious. And Alex Valle instead of Sakura in the background. God, it was so hype. But yeah, that dude's controversial. He talks a lot of shit.
Yeah, he does. Dude, I fucking forgot all about it until I watched that trailer you posted up. I remember just dropping in on a couple of his streams at some point. He's just fucking blowing up his own fucking subscribers and supporters and whatnot, all that shit. If they beat him, he would ban them or some shit.
I'm told he rage quits, but I don't know how.
Oh, I saw some of that too.
Is.
I saw some of that too. Man, he is a class act. Let me tell you.
Yeah, man. In the trailer, they pump him up so hard. They Property Brothers the shit out of that guy.
They do. They're really painting him as the villain of that thing.
Man, and that's exactly why I don't like esports, because it's so fake. He's not a villain. He's just a dude who talks shit. That's precisely that's, I think, one of the reasons, not the reason, but one of the reasons why we don't like esports in the FGC is because a bunch of corporate entities are trying to sell us as something that we're just not. We can't be this, you know? It's so fake, and I'm sure there's good people involved in this. But it's not fucking real. It's all bullshit.
It is all bullshit. But you know what they say. Mortal Kombat's all bullshit.
Yes. Yeah.
And I have to watch Mortal Kombat from time to time, so I might as well watch Low Tier God and Sajam hanging out, talking shit about something. I don't know.
I couldn't finish the trailer. I had to close after about 45 seconds. I could not finish it. It's just so cringeworthy.
Definitely it is, dude. If you just have to go into it like the shittiest movie you ever see in your life, and go into it with that mindset, I think that might aid enjoyment. Not that you need to watch it.
At work, they have HGTV on every break room. I have to turn that right when I throw my TV dinner in the microwave. The second thing I do is turn that shit off. God, I just hate it because I forget to turn it off. It's always some weird ass married couple or some twins who are let's build this deck, and then the shitty blues riff comes in and it shows them the montage of them hammering and opening up blueprint. It's so shitty, and that's all this is. It's that right. With fighting games.
It's
I hate it.
The fighting games is just a detail here, an aesthetic. The thing that it sounds like the thing that you're grumpy about is old media, This is just what old media is doing right now. This thing you're talking about. They'll take fucking anything. You watch any reality show on TV and they do the same fucking format with it. They're like, okay, what's the bad guy? What's the good guy? We gotta do confessionals. We gotta fucking, map it out and edit it up this way to where, there's drama. We gotta end on somebody says something stupid with a big drum hit and then go to commercial. This is just how this shit is formatted. And us, being so immersed in media that comes from other sources that don't have to buy into that formula and that format, to us it does feel really fucking what the fuck am I watching? Is this some bullshit out of Stepford Wives or something? I don't know if that's the right reference, but it just it feels surreal. It feels like there's something weird going on here. Why is everybody watching this like it's okay? There's some. This is do you guys see this?
No, precisely. Yeah, you're right. What they did was they took a theme that has a demographic of people between the ages of 14 and 30, and then they made a show out of it using a model that's popular with people from the ages of 35 to 80.
Absolutely.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
It's you use a model that we're not accustomed to at all, and force it upon a topic that doesn't really mesh, and you put Low Tier God in the middle of that shit. I don't know, man.
Which again, that's what makes me want to go into it, which is this is the stupidest idea that's ever happened.
I'm glad, because you can tell me how it goes, because otherwise I would have never known. So I look forward to your review, Warrior Shrine exclusive.
This week on fucking The Challenger. Is that what it's called? The Challenger?
I fucking hope so.
I'm going to do episode by episode reviews. I'm going to do a commentary track. It's going to be great. Cyborg, what do you think? You watched the trailer. I made you watch it. How do you feel?
Dude, my first comment was, is this the real world? Is this Big Brother? Is this the Jersey Shore?
It's all of it.
It's reality television at its worst. It's just fake people. It's not really fake people. They're just being fake to be. I don't want to say entertaining, because it's not entertaining. It's just it's awful. I don't like it. I think that's a bad way to go to represent your esport or whatever. That's not the image you should want. Esports are still relatively new in the grander scheme of things, and that is not the image you should be painting for what esports are. This shouldn't represent esports. Esports should be, I mean, plenty of esports out there just show the competitions, and they build it up and they hype it up, but you don't need everybody in a damn house, like a mansion, and then all the drama and all that nonsense. That's just stupid. I don't like it. They're just making it that typical TV spin on things, and I don't know. It doesn't interest me. I'm not going to watch it.
We talked about on previous Warrior Shrines that my theory is that fighting game esports is already dead. And right now, just companies are kind of trying to gracefully back out, and they don't really know how to do it. That's my theory, right? So I don't think this is them trying to build up esports. I think this is their way of saying, "Oh my God, we got to cash out our tickets. This shit is fucked. Let's go. Let's bail."
Like a Hail Mary.
That's what this is. This is the last dollar.
Yeah.
Like, this is all right, get Sherry Jennings on TV. Let's make a buck. Let's get the fuck out. I think that's what's going on here.
And I mean, that
I think
is also
E-League will
part of the
survive as a
formula.
tournament, but it will not survive as like this. What's it?
No, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think E-League, the tournament will still exist, but this is them trying to monetize as hard as they can while still going, because I think E-League is going the exact same route that MLG did. And it's not going to be a bang, it's going to be a whimper. You're just not going to hear about it one day. I don't think this is going to last, which is weird because, speaking of the Warrior Shrine, they just announced the new E-League stuff for Injustice 2, to my surprise. I thought Injustice 2 was done.
Season 3.
I really did expect another circuit, yeah.
No. I mean, they got to do something to fill the gap. Come on, they got another year of no Mortal Kombat, so keep that audience at the ready for NetherRealm games up until Mortal Kombat comes out. That way they can just fucking blow Mortal Kombat all over them whenever it comes out. And those people are already like right there ready. It's just keep that audience warm, basically. Put them under the heating lamp and keep them ready to go. And in the meantime, these fucking players get to have some cool matches, win some money. It's all good. It's relatively harmless, so I hope it goes well. And whatever they find that works or doesn't work will just spill right over into Mortal Kombat 11 stuff, so it's good stuff.
Yeah, just all I can see, my closing note on all this is I don't know Low Tier God personally, but no one can vouch for him. Like, no one can say, I can't find any goodwill about this guy. No one has anything good to say about him. So, other than the Vassant thing, I never kept up with him after that. I know a lot of people watched the stream. A lot of people were trolling on TYM about him. I don't know. Like, I have nothing against him personally, but like, if you're going to act tough, it's probably good to have some positive chi, from other people. And I don't see it. If it's there, it's very low key and almost invisible. There's not a lot of goodwill surrounding this guy. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to find that on this particular program.
Vasan is also one of the best human beings in the FGC. So if you're gonna start shit with someone, maybe don't pick Vasan.
But I mean, that's what got him the gig on this show. That's what got him cast as the villain on Challenger here.
Hope he knows what he's doing, man. Like, I don't think being a villain on a shitty reality TV show was a good thing to save your channel, but we'll see how it turns out.
Does he need to save it though? That. I think he does pretty okay on Twitch. I think
if he wants to be the heel forever, great. But I don't think that's sustainable. I feel like heels have an expiration date, but you guys are the better. You guys are more so the wrestling fans than I am. I don't know if that's true, but I feel like it's true. How long does a heel last, right?
I don't know. Let's ask Cyborg.
I mean, in wrestling, there's people that were heels for many, many years. So,
what's the big example? Who's the
Vince McMahon?
Ooh, yeah,
Okay.
Vince McMahon's true. Hulk
For like the
Hogan
past
was
20
a
years.
villain forever.
Hulk Hogan? No. Hulk Hogan was a heel for like 4 years.
What? No, fucking.
And that was after
The
he was a
NWO,
hero for
yeah.
like 10, right?
Yeah,
That
he was
went on
a
longer
good guy
than
for
that.
way longer.
Well, yeah, he definitely was. You're right. I'm just saying that heel gimmick of his, that heel streak went on for a while.
It's also Hulk Hogan, though. He was already like big shit when he healed.
I know.
Like, I don't think he counts.
Listen, I already.
Like, that's like an
fucking-
Anakin Skywalker situation. That's not the same thing.
Easy. I'd put up for the bad example, maybe. I'm sorry. Let's go back to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon,
Right.
bad guy.
Is the Undertaker a heel or is he like chaotic neutral? What the fuck is he?
He's he's like a neutral pretty much.
I mean, I don't know what he is now.
Yeah, old.
Suburban Commando. Anyway, yeah. So that covers my elite thoughts. Django, we'll see how this goes. Hopefully, not as horrible as I think it will.
Django will. Django, you try it. I'll do it. It'll be cool. I'll watch it. It'll be stupid. So, people seem to talk a lot about tag. I'm not that well versed in tag myself. I have not played that many games with the tag mechanic, but I am really intrigued about the idea of playing tag online with my boys, with my homies, but still in the context of Mortal Kombat. And the way that that NRS fighting works, somehow combining those two into something fun and interesting and like a nice different way of playing Mortal Kombat, of approaching the game, rather than just the 1v1 and having to kill all my friends all the time, which gets so exhausting. Like I think there's something there that could be fun, but I don't know. I want to see what you guys think. Which one of you guys want to chime in first? Maybe ladies first. Cyborg, you're the guest.
Sure. So the reason why I want tag team in the game, you can check out the video if you haven't already, but I know you already have. So
I like the confidence. I like it.
yeah, there we go. Here we are, and I'm just gonna zip it back up. And all right, so the reason why I want tag team in the game is because I feel like it would offer a nice alternative to the standard one-on-one. And what I mean by that is, they could do all sorts of alternatives. They've had several alternatives in the past. You have your combat towers, your multiverse, or you even go crazier and you have your chess combat, your motor combat, puzzle combat, any of that stuff, your conquest modes. They've always tried to offer something in addition to the normal play, even like test your luck and that other weird stuff. That seems to be, they always try and expand what they're offering with their game, which is a good thing, because not everybody just wants to do one-on-one. Now, one-on-one's always going to be the core, and it always should be. That's what fighting games are. However, with Mortal Kombat 11, why not bring back tag team mode and allow people to fight together? Injustice 2 sort of give you a taste of it again when you could do the 3-person mode against a boss. Well, I would like just a tag team mode, and it can be simplified. Doesn't even have to have assists or any of that stuff. Doesn't have to have team fatalities or anything crazy like that. The main reason I want it is because after playing one-on-one matches for so long, say there's a skill gap between two people, two friends. Say you only know one person that has the game. Okay, if they are maybe a level above you, eventually you're going to get tired of facing that person. If you're not the type of person, you're not a hardcore player, and you can't adapt, you can't get better, whatever the case, you're eventually just going to give up, and that's not fun. That's never fun. And I know there's several of my friends that like Mortal Kombat, like the characters, like fighting games. Hell, they like Dragon Ball Z, and they're huge fans of that series as well. But they didn't buy the games because of one reason: they're not good at fighting games. Now, they don't feel compelled to get good at fighting games because at the end of the day, it's a one-on-one contest. Whereas if you have a team mode where they can basically team up with me, or you get two people that team up, two friends that team up, then I feel like you have a little bit more of a reason to try harder or maybe get better. I mean, a lot of the most popular games these days are team games, are co-op games where you can share that experience with somebody else. So that way you're both having a good time. You're both having a bad time. You both had, man, that was a tough game, or you're trying to coach each other through something, or you're trying to teach each other something. I feel like when you're on a team or you're doing it cooperatively, it offers a whole new experience compared to when you're competing against each other. I enjoy doing both. I enjoy competing against friends. I enjoy cooperatively, competing against other people with friends. So I just feel like that should be an option. Fighting games don't need to be a one-on-one affair all the time. They can be a 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 or what have you. I just think that opens up so many more possibilities. And MK9 did this, but they only limited it to you had to be on the same console. So if I wanted a team with Django against other random people in ranked matches or player matches or King of the Hills, like, can't do it. Like, I would love to have a King of the Hill where it's 2 versus the world. Like, it's us 2 who can dethrone us. Or we go, like, hey, let's go into a public room, find a tag team King of the Hill, and let's dethrone the kings. Let's make it our mission to dethrone those guys. To me,
I think
doing something together...
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
I'm just saying, doing something together is, in its own way, a completely different experience than trying to be the best yourself. It's... I don't know. I kind of laid the groundwork on where I'm coming from. I'm just rambling at this point, but that's my thought process. Is it's different to just do something by yourself. There's pleasure and excitement and all that good stuff in that. There's adrenaline, all the good stuff. But doing something with somebody else cooperatively can offer a different sort of, I don't know.
Yeah.
You go.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was going to say, like, I think even a simple tweak like that to where it is a team thing, like you're saying, would make modes like ranked more interesting to people like you who aren't usually interested in ranked.
Absolutely.
It's not just about you having to go and fight faceless randos that are whatever. It's not just you. It's you and, it's you and your partner doing it. And that makes it a very different experience. So you're not just there by yourself doing the thing by yourself, and it's in a vacuum. You know what I mean? You're still sharing the experience and whatever.
Right.
And I feel like that would still just make you that much better at the 1v1 again. It would add another feedback loop to make you better at the core game. I think it's interesting too, because in the Injustice 2 multiverses, you had those sidekicking multiverses, those sidekicking worlds, whatever they called them, where you could call out your sidekicks, they would do one of their specials or something, and then hop back out, which is already a function that's very taggy, to drop into something like this, like this. And I feel like that's another, like, maybe a building block towards something like that they might be working towards. And NRS seems to operate that way a lot of the time. They'll start working on stuff, and cumulatively over the course of as their time and budget allows, they'll build up to something more interesting, more broad, more expanded. And I think just the whole idea of how the side-kicking towers went in Injustice 2, or multiverses, whatever you want to call them, I think that's a really good nod to what the future might hold there.
I hope so.
It's not a whole different world. No pun intended.
Having
look
at their competition.
Having those mechanics already like nuggeted in can only mean good things, in my opinion. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. I was just gonna say, look at their competition. I mean, you have Dragon Ball's Fighter Z, where it is tag. You have Marvel vs. Capcom, which is tag. So and even the Tekken games that offered tag, it's like a lot of those aren't just one and done systems. They kept with it because it was popular. I don't know why Mortal Kombat would just dip their toe in it and then never revisit it. I feel like this is the time to revisit it, and they skipped it with X, so bring it back with MK11. A lot of people asked for it, and there are more fun aspects to it than just, hey, I want to have fun with another, my friend. There are other aspects that lead to a whole another layer of gameplay and the whole competitive idea of it is like you can be lore based when you make your team. So like say you and I are teaming together.
Ew, why would you
You're
want to do
playing
that?
Sub-Zero. Who am I going to play? Am I going to play Katana? Our characters, are we going to go by lore? So maybe you want to play Noob and I'll play Smoke or whatever, you know what I mean? Like we can match our characters.
There's going to be some role playing, definitely.
Like Liu Kang and Kung Lao or whatever. You can match your characters up. Or what I think is more interesting than just simply playing it through a lore is gameplay.
Well, yeah,
so
yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to play 2 zoners, or do you want to play a rushdown in a zoner? Do you want to play a brawler, like a big brawler, or do you want to play mid-range, whatever, so that way you can cover your ass based on who you might be fighting against? Like you can, and then you tag out when you need somebody, like say somebody's playing a zoner and you are playing a character that can get in easier, then I'm going to tag out to you, and then he switches to his, like, it's just it's the back and forth. It's a whole nother meta to the game that I think is really cool and really fun. So when you get tired of one-on-one, hey, go into tag, and it offers a whole nother layer of things and strategies to think about.
Could you imagine MKX going against like me and Temp, for example, and Temp's cryo sub and my Grandmaster sub, and just hating your life? Like you have to fight both of those different variations of sub. That sounds like hella fun to me. I would love something fucking like that. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. I also want to talk about why we didn't see it. And I think the main reason it disappeared was because, I think the metrics were low. I think most people did not really play the tag mode online. But there's 2 reasons for that. A, there was no team mode, so there wasn't the incentive. But B, Mortal Kombat is not like other tag games. Marvel vs. Capcom, and I would say much of Dragon Ball FighterZ has sort of like this homogenized combo system. Pretty much everyone has a magic system combo they can do, and it's the same for most characters, almost all characters, with a few more exceptions in Dragon Ball than Marvel. So if you play 3 characters, okay, so you didn't learn Trunks and Gohan as well, but you know Cell, you're very well versed in Cell. Well, your combos are going to be very similar across the board. Mortal Kombat's not like that. The combo systems are at least in part arbitrary. Like, why is Sub-Zero's overhead back 2? It's kind of random. Why is it not forward 2? I mean, it's just a monkey pound under the ground. It's not inherently a back motion or a forward motion. So you just have to know a lot to play 2 characters in Mortal Kombat. Maybe not a lot of like strategic knowledge, but you gotta know a fuck ton of inputs. Like I'm trying to pick up Canary right now in Injustice, and it just it's just a lot of research, just because a lot of her inputs are so arbitrary to me.
She is a very technical character, though.
She is, true.
She's not one of the most casual, friendly characters, I'd say, in Injustice.
Even Injustice is not as bad of an example, because once you know how to set up a launcher, then everyone pretty much has the same combo, with few exceptions. That is not true in Mortal Kombat. Every bread and butter is vastly different in Mortal Kombat X. Learning 2 characters is hard, and even in K9, the combos are very different from character to character. It's just hard to learn 2 characters, so I imagine most people said, fuck it, I'm going to do half the work, I'm going to go online with 1 character. Only people like Razor, who really have that attachment to much of the cast, to multiple characters, are really going to want to put in that work. And even Razor only played casually. He didn't really go online much. So the lore guys are probably the best. What's up?
No, I was just saying, then there's Redman, who's like everywhere. He's omni-roster.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I don't think he did online tag that. I'd have to ask him. But from what I understand, when he's like me, when he went online, he went into ranked with 1 character.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Because, I mean, if you're going to go into ranked, I want to pick my best character. I don't want my second best character holding me back, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
So if you don't have that team element, it's hard to attract people to that, because you're asking more of them. In Dragon Ball, they don't give you a choice: learn characters or die. So, and it's like I said, your combos translate from character to character much better, and there's just, I don't know, like the assists kind of save you a lot of the work. If you don't know how to use your character, that's okay. I have Vegeta assist, which shuts down the neutral, and then I can do what I need to do. So, and Tekken, I think Tekken's more homogeneous than people realize. Like, pretty much everyone has a 1-2 10-frame punish. Everyone has a diagonal 1 poke, mid poke. Pretty much everyone, once you find out what your hop kick is, which is usually diagonal down forward 2, you can start a combo. Now it's just memorizing the bread and butter. So, but here's one thing I like about Tekken. In Tekken Tag, both characters have life bars. But if one of the life bars is fully depleted, you lose the round. So that gives you an incentive to switch. Now, granted, there wasn't
true.
team
I forgot
mode,
about that.
That's awesome to me.
Yeah, it is. That's cool.
I had the lovely privilege of playing a lot of MK19 Battle because I had an offline scene. So me, Matt, Rav, we would all go to Matt's house, and like 10 of us would be in Matt's small-ass room just playing video games with 2 setups. But there's only 2 setups, so what do we do? Team Battle.
Yeah.
That gets 8 people in the mix, you know? So
that kind of reminds me of Shaolin Monk's health bar, too. Whenever you're playing co-op, like, you didn't each have your own unique health bar. Like, it was kind of weird how that worked.
Yeah, they were combined, yeah.
So that might be cool for like for them to bring back that Shaolin Monk, something like that idea, sort of, for an online tag. That'd be interesting.
It emphasizes switching out characters, which was kind of I don't want to say it's a problem with MK9, but the thing is, if the other guy's really good, you might not see any action. So if the better player is low on health, it's to his benefit to bring in the jobber for a little while, you know? So
it makes both. It makes the team aspect more, and it's not just like one good player with one good character and another good player with another good character being very separate and isolated. Like, it makes you kind of have to work together and cooperate, which is good.
It also adds some good drama too, because if the guy you switch in doesn't switch out in time, there's shit talk, and I love that. That's fun.
I think that's a great idea.
Well, this happened too. This happened at Evo.
Oh, I know.
Combo King would not fucking switch in Mike Ross, so they lost the set. It was great. But anyway, yes, continue.
No, yeah, I was gonna say what you said. I would agree. I think that I would agree about. It's probably not as appealing to jump online with, one person, like 1v1 player in tag. So like, each player has their 2 characters they're doing. I don't see that as being the big appeal. I see the big appeal as being 4 players.
Right.
And especially with how NRS likes to fucking, scattershot the casual audience as much as they do, which is what keeps them successful as they are. Again, I feel like tag is the right move for them. I think that appeals. I think that appeals. The 4-player tag would appeal a lot more to a wider audience because of it. Kind of gets into that vibe. It can be very, very competitive. I'm not saying it's not. Obviously, it can be super competitive. Look at fucking MBCI and Tekken Tag and all this shit. But it also attracts your fucking co-op shit that's very popular with all games now, or not all games, a lot of games. Multiplayer, co-op, team-based fighting is incredibly popular at the moment. Right. And bringing in that kind of party aspect to the game, the party game aspect to the game, the fun, you can just jump in with your friend and talk shit to the other team and you're working together and whatnot. Like, that's fun. I think it's a big boon, no pun intended, to have with casual audiences to bring in more. So so people that jump in don't have to just, again, be fighting in a vacuum. They don't have to be going through the experience of sitting there in the lab by themselves and learning characters by themselves. Like, there's this whole other layer that you can experience if that's not your bag, and it's another way of getting people in the door, which I think is always a huge priority over at NRS for their games. I think that bodes really well for a tag style approach for MK11.
I definitely feel like the audience is prepackaged because there's something about Mortal Kombat. It took me years to realize. I didn't really figure it out till about a year ago. But I always said, like, why do people care about fatalities? You turn on the YouTube video, you watch it for 10 minutes, you see all the fatalities, who cares? And it's starting to occur to me that people don't just want to see fatalities, they want to do fatalities. And they don't just want to do fatalities, they want to do fatalities on their friends. That's the big selling point of modern Mortal Kombat. So if you have a team fatality where Cage and Noob bought, like, I don't know, they both like rock, scissors, paper and like double punch the opponent, like, man, you're going to have some great party dynamics there.
You are, man. That'd be
Mario
sick.
Party that shit.
Duotalities?
Yeah, I don't think it'd be terribly hard. I mean, the motion capture would be expensive, but on paper at least, it's fairly simple, even if it's pricey. And the games sell like fucking hotcakes anyway, so I don't know. Like I said, I think the audience is prepackaged. My question for Cyborg, as someone who isn't so much on the Tekken side, do you want the round to end with 1 life bar depleted, or do you like 2 full life bars better? Do you like it better that when the other character dies, you jump in to take over the fight, or if one person dies, it's done so? For that round, not the match, but for the round at least.
I mean, I I would be fine with either. I really like what you laid out in terms of how that would work, sharing a life bar. I think that would, in my opinion, that would lead to more intense moments, which is always a good thing when you crank up like the intensity of, dude, you gotta switch out, like we're about to die, please do not kill us. I still got 3/4 of a life bar, put me in. Like that to me is why I want tag team, is for those moments. Like I just envision us going into ranked and having, like, it's everything that I wanted with MKX's the faction battles or whatever you did, where it was like 3-on-3 or 5-on-5. We only did that like 3 times because it just, for whatever reason, we could never find matches. That was before they fixed the net code and all that good
After
stuff.
they fixed it, I tested extensively. I did not get a single match.
At that point, it was dead. It was dead in the water. But either way, I love the concept because when we did play it, it was so fun. Even though we only did it those 3 times, I remember like, this guy loves to spam this. Watch out for that. Like, we were helping each other out. We were coaching each other without even being able to see the other person's game. But the fact that you already played the person and then I was going to play him next, you could tell me, watch this, he loves to do this, or he's playing this character, like already coming up with strategies to help each other. I love that. That is what I thrive on. I mean, I've already admitted that fighting games are not my preferred genre. Like I like fighting games, but they are not the one I have the most fun with. I am by all accounts a social gamer. I play games to have fun with other people, not just myself. Now there's some games I do like to play just by myself, but either way, like the majority of mine are playing games with other people and experiencing things together. And you still get that when you do one-on-one, but it's just not the same. Like I'm coming from like a predominantly like Halo background and that kind of stuff where it's like me and other dudes and we're having a good time trying to fight the good fight and trying to win together, and we both got to get our shit together, otherwise we're done. So I like that aspect. I love the idea of training together, doing sets just to warm up, and then jumping into tag team and having that intensity of, I need to pull my own weight, otherwise I'm going to be pissed. Like, you still have the disappointing feelings, you still have the need to get better on your own and that type of stuff, so that is all still there. I would never want to be a part of a team where somebody's carrying me to a victory. I would still want to be pulling my weight at least. So yeah, I love the idea. To get back to your question, is I love the idea of a shared life bar because I feel like it would enable even more intense moments and intense finishes, and it strives you to work together, like you said, even more. Anytime you can push that even further, I'm on board. Now, I'm not against the separate life bars because I still feel like, unless you're playing with like Superman or something, like your partner is God himself in the sense that he's that damn good at the game, you're probably going to have to get tagged in at some point. So both people still need to pull their own weight. Like you and me couldn't, or take a casual and Redman, so to speak, and Redman jumps in there and does everything he can. He gets the other dude, like he wipes out one guy and then he gets the second guy to half a life bar, but then he finally goes out. That other person still needs, in his one life bar, to get the other person dead in his half life bar. So it's not, I don't know, it's not completely bad the way that is.
The other person still has a full life bar. It's just you can't afford to deplete one.
Right.
Yeah, so, yeah.
But no, I agree with you. I do like that spin on it. And if they bring tag team mode back, I do hope they do some revamping to it to make it even more fun and crazy and cool, and to separate it a bit from the one-on-one experience. Because, like I said, the more you make it,
that's tough. But go on, yes, because I do have something to say about that. That's a hard part, is balancing it. But go on, yes.
No, I know it's a tightrope walk because you gotta. I don't know. It's interesting. I just want them to implement it, and I hope it's successful because, like I said, that in its own right could be a lot of fun. I did play ranked matches with a friend on a same Xbox who wasn't very good at the game, and I wasn't very good either, but I was a little bit better than him. And it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. I remember yelling at him, like, you gotta, come on, get it together, dude. Like, I served you this up on a platter. Don't fuck this up for us. Like, we had like a 9-game win streak in ranked, and then we lost our 10th, so we didn't get that achievement or whatever. But that intensity is there, and I think it's more fun when you can share that intensity with a friend than when you're just doing it by yourself. Like, if I go and play a ranked set by myself, if I play like a day's worth of ranked sets on ranked, and then I'm like telling you guys the tales of what happened, I would much rather you have been there and to be able to laugh about it and like, man, that was freaking intense. Like, it's so much better when you're experiencing it with somebody else. That's just my opinion. Like, if I'm going to travel the world, yeah, it'd be cool to do it by myself, but I would much rather have a friend there to experience it and reminisce about those and talk about what we had seen and what we had done. To me, that's just my personality, I guess.
I mean, for me, I would want... There's two things I would want in a tag mode, and if they do put it in, my vote would be to add no tag mechanics, just so it would be balanced. Because I'm told, I didn't experience it myself, but I'm told tag system was pretty broken for Mortal Kombat 9.
Right.
So I would want them to sterilize it just so it could be viable.
You mean like no assists and no like tag comboing and stuff?
Exactly. But that's what I would love is joint combo juggles. That would be the coolest shit to me. I would also like it. So I start the combo, I go into a jungle, then I bring you in, and you do the extension. If you fuck it up, it's all your fucking fault. Right. That's the cool part to me. And then if you successfully do it, you bring me back in, and then I still have the combo with finisher.
So it's more just like assist moves that you have an issue with.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it.
Like where you call the person in just to do a special, and then they hop back out.
I'm not really sure what made MK9 combo system or MK9 tag system very broken, because assist cost a bar meters, so I'm like, how much meter do these people have, right? So
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not sure why it was so broke, but I would want that. That's number one on my list. Number two on my list is make tagging in super unsafe, where you almost have to tag in for combos, because if you don't, your tagging will get blown up. That way, like, that leads to swag, in my opinion. So if you're low on life, it's like, crap, I need to either take a risk and bring in my guy, or I need to start a combo ASAP and make this safe, or we're all donezo.
Right.
That would be cool to me. That would be fun, but it's not worth it. Like, as cool as it would be, it's just not worth it. That little, like, neat stuff is what killed Tag in MK9. That and maybe they're worried about disconnect. I mean, let's face it, with Team Battle, you have a 75% increase of disconnects.
Sure.
So that might have been another reason. I mean,
but now that they get the net code, it should be.
Well, rage quitting specifically is what I was referring to.
Oh, rage quitting? Well, yeah, I mean, I would assume if you are tagging, like, unless people are going in rando, which, yeah, that's going to happen, but hell, I mean, you take the ranked part aside, like, it would still be fun just to do 2v2 in your own private lobby, like me and you versus Joe are two people that we know that we play. I don't know. But I would want ranked, because that to me is a big appeal to me, is I would want us as a team to try and get to a leaderboard spot. That I feel much more motivated to do that than to do it by myself, I guess, is kind of where that's just my mentality. I don't know. I'm big into co-op and team experiences.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm both. I have a foot in both camps. So yeah, I definitely see the appeal, and I would want to do both ultimately. I don't want to leave behind the single player stuff just because I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, fighting games are all about having something to prove.
Sure.
So yeah, I feel like that diminishes when you bring in a second person a bit, but it has its own glory. Like, the moments have their own values. So
yeah, single player can never go anywhere. That's important.
Right. And like I said, that would still need to be the core. But if anything, like, when you are a good team, I feel like it's harder to be a good team than it is to be a good solo. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it's kind of like Cuphead.
It's almost too hard.
Yeah,
it's like it's like Cuphead. Like, Cuphead in itself is a hard game, but when you're playing it co-op, I played it co-op, and it's way harder because not only do you have to be perfect, your teammate has to be perfect too. So you need to work together like a well-oiled unit.
Yeah, you're just throwing in more variables. More variables always makes everything more complicated.
Right, which is that's even more fascinating to me, is like, we both need to get our shit together, and we both can't make any errors, and we both need to be on our combo game.
And that makes it that much more exciting when you both do pull that off.
Yeah. Because you get your solo pride, right? You did well on your own, like, you did your part, and then you feel good in a team aspect because you both worked well on your own and you worked well together. Like, it's like double the pleasure, double the gum. What the hell is that slogan?
Double the fun, sir.
You got it right. That was it.
You can. When I was a kid, I would double the gum just because I felt like one stick wasn't enough.
Yeah.
I've outgrown that. I'm now a one stick gum guy.
It's like Ace Ventura when he puts like 8 things in his mouth at the same time, chews it for 10 seconds, and puts it away. Anyways, but yeah,
Dude,
no,
Doublemint was the shit.
it's exciting to me. It is exciting
I
to me.
think the comebacks would also be way better because if one guy fucks up early and then swaps you out, like he actually swaps out with like almost 0% life. Now I have to fight the two-headed beast because the other guy wasn't doing his shit. So that's fun to me. I think that's interesting.
It is. It is. It's good stuff, and you got to like. I mean, there's so many. Like you said, there are so many moving parts in the sense of like, who do you lead with, and what's your character dynamic going to be? Like I mentioned before earlier, where it's like you're playing this character. What's the best character I should be playing to complement that character? So I mean, it all leads into that stuff. What characters are going to work well together? So that excites me. That's fun stuff.
He is excited.
And that's all in addition to just the game itself one-on-one being good. Like I'm not saying this should be Mortal Kombat. I'm not saying replace one-on-one with this. I'm just saying if you add that whole possibility, that alternate game mode in addition to the one-on-one, to me, that would keep me interested more and allow me to have more fun. Like, if I face you for 20 matches and I'm getting stomped, I'm going to get frustrated and annoyed and not want to play the game anymore. But then we can just go play team and then we're good.
Affirmative.
So
I think,
yeah.
I agree. I didn't used to be all about some fucking tag, but no, I've definitely grown to see the value of it as a secondary option. A really good secondary option if they do it well. A really good
right.
one. I wanna see it. Is there anything else that you guys want to say about tag?
Nah.
I don't think so. Yeah, nothing. I mean, I would. The unique stuff could be like animations and win poses and fatalities. It doesn't necessarily have to be gameplay mechanics. You don't have to pose, so that might be my final note on that. Just
I think
add novelty, don't add mechanics.
I agree with that, and I think if you do the shared life bar approach, like you're saying, that in itself already gives it its own unique feel. That, along with the tag in and out, you don't need to overcomplicate it. And the more you overcomplicate it, the more you risk it actually being broken. Then it becomes less fun by proxy. So I agree with you. Just give it the bells and whistles in terms of the animations and cool little things like that. The little additional things that don't really affect the balance.
Dude, team brutalities. That shit would be sick.
That'd be cool.
That
That'd
shit
be
would be
tight.
sick.
A brutality in general would be sweet in tag. Like you just like jumped on somebody, cut their head off, and now their buddy has to pop in while his buddy's dead body's just laying there. I don't know. Like, that's cool.
That'd be sad. Like the other character got knocked out. Like the other guy has to mourn his dead friend if it's the one like the depleted life bar rule. I think that would be crazy. Well, I don't know. Like that'd be interesting. I always thought Mercy should come back because I thought Mercies would be a lot more interesting than Brutalities, honestly. Because just like see how the character reacts to being spared. I think that would be
Tip,
fun.
you're so
that's
nice.
neither here nor there.
You're such a nice guy.
Well, I mean, it could be trolly too. Like, like Shang Tsung takes out your soul like halfway, then puts it back in. That would be fun. I think that would be cool.
Fucking catch and release, Jesus.
Catch and release.
Like Sub-Zero freezes your feet, then he lectures you. That's tight. That's a mercy.
Dude, but we have to get to watch the lecture though. We want to hear. I want to hear.
Yes, I hope so.
You must fucking learn to fight with cold fury. What else? Sharing. There's some cool ideas about sharing EX meter too. I think would be a lot of fun, but all these things are
like, dude, you're eating all the meter. Stop
it! Save me some.
All the meters like, all right, good luck, bro. Like that's awesome to me. That sounds fun.
You do. That would be hilarious. You just like pop in, use all the meter, and then just pop right. It's like, all right, when you give me a full bar, get me back in.
It's so trolly. That would be so trolly.
It would also be sweet if in wrestling you can just like ignore the tag, like your opponent tries to tag you in, but you're like, nah,
no.
Like you just sabotage your own friend. It's just like,
that would
all
be
right,
cool,
you're in.
though. Like,
Nah, I don't want to go in. Actually,
switch out. That'd be tight. It's like the other guy has the option of spending your meter to come in. Like,
oh yeah, it works in reverse too. I was thinking like you try and tag the other person in,
They don't
but
come
they're
in.
like, nah, I don't want to come in.
But you can force yourself to come in.
as you're panicking, and he's like, no, you deal with this. Like,
I'm making an executive decision, bro. I'm
But
staying
Give me
out.
the keys. Just get the fuck out of here.
but on reverse, you're right. It would work in reverse too, where you can just like fucking, you're the guy that's sitting out, and you force tag yourself in because like, dude, you don't got this.
You bench your friend because he's underperforming. That's tight.
You're embarrassing us. You're drunk. Give me that. I like
Well,
it.
the other guy, if you need meter to do it, the other guy can just start spending his meter like
It's like, dude, you're
furiously,
spending too much
don't
meter. I'm
force
coming in.
that.
See,
You're a loose cannon.
I feel like this shit would quickly devolve into covered with scorpions territory. Just fucking doing the stupidest shit, which would be fun, but I think you're giving people a little too many options there. Then it would just devolve into chaos.
Oh, I know. It's probably not. I wouldn't standardize those options, but it'd be fun in like a private match to be able to do those things. Like I would not have that be the norm.
Fucking gear for the fucking gear ranked system. Yes, you can totally do that shit.
Or you could do like the weird, like you could do a mode where it's like random tag in and out. So
oh god, that sounds.
you get out, and then 2 seconds later you're back in. Like, what the hell?
That would fuck my brain. I would hate that. Boy, I think that we have just given them a bevy of ideas, a cornucopia of ideas,
Myriad.
a myriad. You say
A myriad.
a myriad? Some say a myriad.
A myriad. Oh.
I've heard it both ways. Whatever your lifestyle choices, dictate. That's cool.
I like myriad. That sounds fancier.
Myriad,
You white gloves to say
plethora.
that.
Plethora.
Oh, I say plethora. So
You say plethora?
What's like placenta?
Ooh,
there's a plethora of corn.
Okay.
Okay, listen. One day we're gonna do a Warrior Shrine confirmed about pronunciation. The lore of pronunciation.
The almonds.
Fucking talk about Nitara for 16 hours.
Neither realm and
Neither
Nightwolf.
realm, dude. Fucking neither realm. All right.
Raiko.
Stop it. What is he? Is he Reiko? He's Reiko.
I think it's supposed to be Reiko, but I kept saying Raiko.
Right, and he's not Rico.
No, he's definitely not Rico.
I like Rico, but
Rico Suave.
but he's not Rico. He's
Rico.
Reiko.
Suave.
Stop it. No one even knows what you're referencing right now.
I know.
I mean, I know it, but that's part of my wave. It's part of my gen.
yeah.
Well, no, that's what. Shut the fuck up. What do you guys want to do? You guys want to answer some questions, or how are you feeling?
We can do a couple of questions.
Let's do a couple of questions.
Yeah.
A couple of questions.
Next time we'll just question it out, but this time, this one we have to keep it a little short, unfortunately.
This question comes from. I'm skipping around because we have we fit these into how the time of the episode allows. So we're not going in order. It's okay though. If
We will eventually, just not yet.
yeah, and we're not skipping
It's
questions.
coming.
Just so everyone knows, we're not skipping you. If we don't do it, but if we don't do your question, but it came before the one that we are doing, that does not
Skip
mean
'em.
we're no. They skip it. They do that on the Nethercast all the time. They're bitches. We don't do that over here. I make excellent notes and I grab backups of screenshots. I have this endless. Listen, it's gonna be fine.
I usually just delete them as I go, but yeah.
Well, fucking, tomato Nitara, whatever works. We're gonna do this question from MK Trilogy Chameleon, aka Leon. This is Leon. You guys know Leon?
I do, yeah.
Good.
He's the dude.
He's not the dude. There's only one.
I didn't say he's the dude. I said he's a dude.
He's the dude. He is the dude. Actually.
Wait, what? You just said.
He's the dude.
All right, we're done here.
MK Trilogy Chameleon asks, if you had to say one, what series do you see dying out first? Whether this be soon or far off in the future, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat? I'm very interested to hear your reasoning. Don't step on the question, sir.
All right, go on. I thought you were done. I didn't. I sensed the reflection pause coming, but go on. Yes.
I'm going to continue to quote Mr. Leon here. I'm very interested to hear your reasoning for why one will outlive the other. Boom. Okay, now I'm done. Now you can talk shit. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, good question. Thanks for contributing, Leon. I think the answer is Street Fighter, I think, is for sure going to die first because Capcom's financial situation is way worse than WB's. It's better now because of Monster Hunter and recently Resident Evil, less recently Resident Evil. But I mean, God, look at the last two games. Look at MKX was MKX, and Street Fighter V was like half a fighting game. So yeah, I don't think there's a comparison. Like Street Fighter is in much more danger than Mortal Kombat. I feel like Mortal Kombat is just more adaptable to Street Fighter. Not so much. I feel like Street Fighter is kind of confined to the walls of anime conventions. Their story is very much driven along Japanese anime. It's not literally Japanese anime, but that's sort of like the template they follow and will probably always follow. And that is both making it more dated and more. It's also limiting the audience. Like, not everyone's going to see Armika and be like, "Oh, I get it." No, as a matter of fact, I think the majority of people are not going to feel that way. It's just too animated. People, there's not enough money behind the game. Like, so yeah, I think Street Fighter is. I don't think it's dying. I think Street Fighter is on the rebound. I think Capcom as a whole is on the rebound, but Street Fighter is by no means immortal. Mortal Kombat is cultural. Like, in a way, Street Fighter 2 is cultural. Now, the original 90s Street Fighter, that is forever immortalized in pop culture, at least for this generation. But Mortal Kombat as a franchise is very much more ingrained in pop culture, while the classic Street Fighter is as well, but not so much New Age Street Fighter. No one knows who the fuck Necalli is, all right? I mean, people may say no one knows who the fuck Ferrator is, but Mortal Kombat's not going away. I mean, it's still a household name. People mostly remember Chun-Li and Blanca, I feel like, with Street Fighter. I feel like New Age Street Fighter
no.
has not
People
found its
know
pocket.
Ryu and Ken. Don't get weird.
Oh, no, of course. They know the World Warriors.
Come on, Hadouken, dude. Come on.
They know Bison's Kings. They don't know Q. They don't know 12.
Isn't fucking...
And again, people...
Aren't Hadoukens in, like, Ready Player One or some shit? Like...
Oh, I've never seen the movie. I'm reading the book right now. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not a bad book. And... Who was in fucking, what was that fucking stupid Pixar movie?
Oh, Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph. It wasn't stupid. It was good. Who was that, though? That was Geef and Bison? Is that it?
I remember Geef. I don't remember Bison.
I think Bison
there
was
is a
in
generic ninja, but I think Ryu is in there somewhere.
Yeah, I
don't
know. I remember watching
Ryu
that movie and being
Geef,
like, man, I can't believe Geef was in there. But, I mean, I guess that was a... in context, that was like an AA for game villains, so it makes sense for Geef and Bison to be in there. I don't know if Geef is actually a villain.
Sense. Yeah, he's never really he's Russian, but he's not a villain. Like,
well, by fucking 80s and 90s standards, that is a villain, unfortunately.
Hey,
I know.
Just because you're bad guy doesn't make you bad guy.
I agree, man.
Truer words.
I agree. I think you're. It's an interesting question.
Even if you don't agree with my cultural assessment, it's all money. The money is just more on Mortal Kombat side, in my opinion. But yeah, continue.
No doubts there. Especially right now, the money is Jesus ever in MK's favor these days. But as far as which is gonna die first, I mean, even if Capcom goes under, Street Fighter is gonna go somewhere. Street Fighter will end up owned as an IP by someone else if Capcom goes under. And
yeah, it'll find its way in a museum if Capcom goes under, or it'll get bought up by someone else. The spirit of Street Fighter will never die, but yes, come on.
No, I don't think the IP will go anywhere. I think it's a lucrative enough IP, an attractive enough IP, a well-known enough IP to get picked up by another publisher at some point, much like Mortal Kombat did. And then, boy, Street Fighter by... someone else, another publisher, holy fucking that's an interesting idea, interesting notion. Maybe people wouldn't have to go
scoop it up.
Maybe people wouldn't have to be like, Necalli. I don't get it. Like, I know that was my feelings about Necalli. He looks cool, he plays cool, but if you go beyond that, it's still like fucking boy. And then Fang fucking floats out or whatever he does. I don't get that either, but I'm a decadent Westerner, so that's also an issue there. As far as though which one is just gonna die out first, I don't think they ever will. I think that they're destined to do this forever. honestly. In some form or fashion, one will, they'll take turns about which one's on top, but and right now, boy, is Mortal Kombat way more on top, just in terms of like success and money and dick size, like all the above, man.
And visibility, I just feel like it's even. That's why I was saying, like, people may counter, like, hey, no one knows who Havoc is, so why are you making fun of Nikali? And the difference is just visibility. Mortal Kombat, I think, is just more visible of the two right now, and will be for a very long time. Yeah, I don't think Street Fighter is going to die, but it's definitely the more vulnerable of the two, for sure. It's definitely far more vulnerable.
Definitely.
But I can't say that word. Vulnerable. Yes, that's what I meant.
Vulnerable.
Rural.
Don't say that one. I can't say that one either. That one blows me up. I hate that word.
Yeah, it's difficult. It takes labbing.
It does take fucking time. I'm in the lab here. I'm in the lab. Rural's still not functioning properly. Cyborg, what do you think? Do you have any thoughts?
I just feel like, I mean, you pretty much covered it, but Capcom, I think it comes down to, like you said, even if Capcom goes under, Street Fighter will be picked up, but who will be the one that picks them up? But if we're just comparing by what status and what state they're in now, I think Mortal Kombat definitely has the advantage. WB is not going under anytime soon, so they got money for days. So.
Well, here's a question: do the anime aspects of Street Fighter kind of turn you away from the game at all?
They do me. But I'm a bigot. I'm a bigot. I'm a bigot against anime. I have trouble. Listen, I'm sorry. I know it's true though. Like, I'm not saying that I'm right. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm a shithead. I should get better and not be so fucking judgmental about my anime. I'm working on it.
I would say no. It doesn't turn me away because I've played other games that have anime characters or have that anime art style. Or it's not even like hardcore anime. Like, to me, there are way more anime games than Street Fighter. Street Fighter is like midway. Street Fighter is midway between cartoony and anime, so it's kind of like in that nice middle ground that I'm still fine with it. I mean, I guess what my point was is I play a game called Everybody's Golf and Hot Shots Golf. That is very anime. I mean, it's made in Japan, and the characters are all anime looking, and I'm fine with that game. I mean, it doesn't stop me from playing it. So to answer your question, no, it doesn't stop me from playing it. What stops me from playing Street Fighter is just I don't like the gameplay as much as I do Mortal Kombat. I played Street Fighter growing up too, but I was never enamored with Street Fighter like I was Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat to me has always had the more interesting character designs, the more interesting theme, the more interesting settings, and just the more interesting specials. I like the flashy special moves. I like like I said, the colorful ninjas, and that's, as a kid, that's what got me into it. That's what enamored me. The dark setting. I like the seriousness of it at that point. Now I'm fine with it being more, having some goofiness to it if they want. To me, it should be Mortal Kombat. To me, if I know this is kind of sidetracking for just a second, but to me, Mortal Kombat to me, because I feel like it's a little bit different to everybody what they think of as pure Mortal Kombat or whatever, what it is at its core. To me, Mortal Kombat should be, and what I want it to be is Big Trouble in Little China. I want the humor, I want some of the goofiness, and I want some of the craziness. It doesn't have to be all about the blood and the fatalities. To me, I like a nice mix. I like the strong kung fu oriental art styles as well that I wish they would go back to, because they've strayed away from those quite a bit. That's why I loved Katana's design so much. Anyways,
no,
I answered your question at least.
You did. I agree. And Street Fighter, as far as anime goes, Street Fighter is like, fucking NES, Super NES game that came from Japan, which was most of them, where they slipped under the radar, and you didn't know it was anime while you were playing it. But then fucking, you play Mega Man in higher resolution, you're like, oh, this has been kind of anime all along. So those things, like I said, kind of snuck under my radar. But nowadays, there is a thing about the anime that can turn me off. But I'm working on it. It's not a deal breaker necessarily. Dragon Ball Fighter Z is boy, it's getting there. It's tough, and there's some an animated. It's not even Dragon Ball Fighter Z. Anime fighters. Look at that shit. Fucking Guilty Gear and fucking Blaze Blue and whatever else you want. Oh, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can, dude. I don't know. It's hard. Because I did get into Mortal Kombat a lot because of the aesthetic value. I did get into all that shit because of those, just the visual approach, that sort of thing. And I'm a shitty Westerner, man. That's just what I'm fucking primed for. You know, it's part of the reason. That's another reason why I like Onimusha more than I like Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry to me feels hella anime. And Onimusha just feels like a dude running around a castle killing monsters and shit. But that's all as much me as it is those games. Interesting perspective there, Timp. I'm glad you brought this forward.
Yeah, I think Street Fighter is a lot more alienating. It's not, the appeal is not nearly universal. However, Mortal Kombat is also very anime in some ways. It's just a lot more hidden. But, like, people's friends dying and coming back to help them, like, that's super fucking anime.
That's not anime.
Becoming demons, that's anime as fuck, dude.
That's not anime. Come on. Those are things that anime shares, but, like, that's not something that they got from anime.
When people think of anime, they don't think to that depth, though, of, like, detail. When people think something's anime, they think the
Spiky
visual.
hair.
Like, it's all about how it looks in the animation style, the over the top emotions, the big teardrops coming down people's faces, and the giant mouths and the giant eyes. Like, that's anime.
I feel the exact opposite. To me, that's all like the non-essential stuff. To me, anime at its heart is just it's high sentimentality charged drama, but it's almost soap opera levels of sentimentality.
Yeah,
but it's also tragedy porn. Tragedy porn is such a big part of anime.
That's what I was gonna say. You're talking about melodrama. Yeah. And melodrama goes all over the fucking universe. Like you said, we've got fucking soap operas out the asshole, and we always have. We've always had that bullshit. Fucking Shakespeare wrote melodrama with the best of them. When I think anime, I think like fucking hit sparks that take up the whole screen. Just fucking, you're gonna give me a seizure watching this video game. Like, especially anime in terms of video games and fighting games. That's what I'm talking about.
Anime, yeah, like I said, to me, it's completely the visuals. It's the when I say when I'm not really into anime shows, it's because I can't get around how it's presented to me. Like, it's not the themes that I have a problem with. It's not the story being told or how it's being told, I should say. It's all about how you're presenting the information to me visually, and it's the high-pitched voices, it's the, like I said, the giant eyes, the giant mouths, the over-the-top emotions. That's the kind of stuff that I'm just like, I just can't really get into. It kind of, like, I don't hate it. It's not like, I'm not saying it's stupid. It's just something that I personally have never really enjoyed that much. I think Inuyasha's the only ever time I went down that road, and even then I didn't really like that show. I just watched a few episodes. So, or I guess like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or any of that stuff was anime, and I like those, but I don't know. Those aren't the worst offenders, but
I just feel like, I mean, granted, the stuff that is bothering you about anime is, for me, like, the least important part. I won't dwell on this too long because I feel like there's another question we got to get to, but I guess going back to melodrama, no one else is really doing the melodrama thing well, in my opinion, except for video games and anime. And the Marvel, like, the whole comic book revolution is doing it pretty well too, but not quite on the same level still. Like, we compare it to Shakespeare. Yeah, Shakespeare did melodrama, but like fucking, like, Mercutio didn't sacrifice himself to defeat Tybalt. Like, that didn't happen. Like, the melodrama was very much contained within perimeters. And anime just takes a hammer to those perimeters and says, fuck, I don't give a shit. And then it goes all over the place. It's almost like an adrenaline level of melodrama. It's like a heroin shot of it. And to me, it's addictive. Like, that emotional rush of seeing people die and come back, and not always coming back part, but just, the twist, the dark revelations, even I like some of the romantic parts of anime. Even I like the high school senpai bullshit too. Just the love triangles and like the heartbreaks. I like that shit as well. Again, it's like a heroin shot of like melodrama.
No, it's
so
fine,
good.
dude. You gotta fucking, I can just imagine old Temp, like he's 80, watching his stories with some popcorn.
Everything you just said, though, is coming from somebody that's watched a lot of anime,
That's
so you
true,
know,
yes.
like I said, you're diving deep down. You're in the bottom layers of what defines, like, what anime. I guess what is a common trend amongst anime, like what defines it to you. I think at the top layer, though, when most people think, "Oh, I'm not into anime," like from somebody that never really dove that far deep, I think most people associate anime with that just style of presentation. Because what's the difference between Family Guy or The Simpsons or any American cartoon, King of the Hill, any of that, and Inuyasha and Pokemon and those? It's one's clearly visually anime style and one is American style.
I'll give you this benefit. If you don't know how to navigate that ocean, there's a lot of shit. And if you're not careful, you can watch 5, 6, 7 really bad animes before you find one good one. Especially in this, we're in a really strange era
I like
of anime.
those odds.
Yeah, no, well, thank God. I feel like anime is sort of rebounding right now, but I feel like for the last 5 years we've been in a really horrible era of just pandering. The worst kind of. They've been pandering to a very bad crowd of people, and we're finally healing from that awful sickness, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I have my own issues with anime if I were to get into it, beyond the art style that I'm not a fan of. But
Me
I'm
too.
not going to sit there and get into like the controversial issues that I am personally just
I
kinda
won't
turned off
today,
by.
but another day I likely will. There's stuff I don't like. There's conventions in anime I strongly dislike.
Right. I just think,
like you, I will save it. But yes, we could say a lot about that, and I get it. But there's so much.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want people to miss out on that. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fucking weird tangent I didn't expect coming from Leon's question.
Good shit, Leon. Good question.
But you know, life finds a way, as a great man once said. That's kind of how it works, right?
Yeah, you can't really kill Street Fighter easily, but of the two, it's more likely to go down.
No, man. If you want to kill Street Fighter, you're gonna bring some big weapons, man. And then fucking the people, you're gonna martyr it, and it's gonna be Street Fighter fans, man. There's not that many of them, maybe. I don't know how many there are. It's so hard to tell. They're so vocal, though. So,
They're an extremely unhappy crowd.
whatever. I'm not gonna push this any further.
Well, they just got one of the worst patches of all time in Street Fighter V, so they're very disgruntled at the
Oh
moment.
no, that's the last thing that game needed.
So.
A bad
It's so
patch?
fucking
Jesus.
random, but yeah.
No, just a bad patch for Street Fighter V really bums me out.
My characters came out alright, but everyone else got kind of screwed.
Oh boy. Leon, great question. Interesting question. Brought up some interesting insights with these interesting mofos. I think that's enough. I'm okay with calling it there, going out on that.
I feel one more. I feel like one more is. I'm feeling driven.
Okay.
I feel
All
like
right,
feeling
Tim,
energized.
the sick guy who was trying to cut it short wants us to push harder.
I'm all jacked up on Sudafed. Let's do it.
Interesting. Boy, you've really caught me with my junk out.
Zip it up.
Okay, I'm working on it. Randy Cool 27 asks,
Okay.
how would you feel if they brought back a bunch of MKX characters for MK11 with their legacy moveset / variations with minor tweaks a la Injustice 2? We've done variations of this. Okay, I'm sorry. Now I'm going to talk. Good question, Randy. We've done variations of this question before. But I don't know if I've heard Cyborg's take on it.
Oh, jeez. See, I knew as soon as I stopped paying attention, I would really get just called on like I'm in class.
Dude, if I have to zip it up, you do too. Come on.
All right, let me find this question here. Okay.
No, I'll read it again. How would you feel if they brought back a bunch of MKX characters for MK11 with their legacy movesets variations with minor tweaks a la Injustice 2?
Okay,
So,
gotcha, yeah.
yeah, I'm assuming that means, a bigger roster and helping out.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, like, does that mean like the new characters from MKX, or just the MKX roster as a whole, including some
MKX roster as a whole.
Yeah,
Okay.
just kind of going the Injustice 2 route with Mortal Kombat as far as, not revamping everything from the ground up and bringing back a lot of familiar feeling shit.
Yeah. So my thoughts on that is I'm on board, and I think we had this conversation before offline, and you suggested that you wouldn't want it to be like as much as Injustice 2 in the sense of retaining as much as Injustice 2 retained with the Legacy, and I agreed with that. So that's pretty much where I'm coming from, is that if they go the Legacy route, which I hope they do, because like if my option, or if our options are, we get 26 character starting roster and it's all from the ground up, or we can get a 30 character starting roster or whatever, and you have some legacy I mean, it would have to be obviously different from what I just said, because that's not really that much of a jump for characters. But regardless, that aside, if we go the legacy route, which I'm okay with, I would want the legacy portion to be less than it was on Injustice 2, meaning what stayed the same of those characters, I wouldn't want to be like 80%, which is what I felt like Injustice 2 was. Hell, it might even be higher than 80%. I would want the character to maybe be like 40% of the same and then 60% new, as long as you give them more new than what was kept, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's a happy medium there. I don't think you need to revamp these characters from the ground up, and hell, you really don't often. I mean, because they keep a lot of their specials that they had before, and a lot of their normals and combo strings. I feel like, why not keep some of those combo strings? Because the player that liked that character before will hopefully be familiar with those combo strings. Just give them some new ones. Take out the ones that weren't that great, or change what was broken about them, or change what didn't work about them, and make them even more solid. If you start from, basically, if you scrap all the crap that wasn't necessary before, you cut the fat, and then you just add on to what was already working, then I feel like you can cut a few corners enough to expand the roster a little bit. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, for me,
I mean, I don't feel strongly either way, but yeah, that's where I lean, I guess.
Yeah, for me, it depends on what's the point? What's the end goal here? What are you trying to accomplish if you want to bring back these like legacy movesets? Like, what is, from a design perspective, what are you gaining from doing that? If you're looking to gain roster size, I'm not on board with it, because I'm just not. I don't like big roster games. I much prefer smaller roster games where everyone plays really fucking sick and you get to really focus on the design of each of those characters.
Sure.
And I don't want a bunch of characters that play meh just to have more characters that you can play as. I don't want Armageddon. Right. Do not blow me up. No. Don't blow me up. Don't blow me up, anybody.
I have a question for you, then.
Oh, fuck. What?
What is... Because you said you aren't all about... I mean, it's more about quality and quantity, and I agree with that. I don't want Armageddon again. I don't want just as many characters as we can possibly get just to have them. But you said you're okay with a smaller roster. What size of roster are you okay with? Like, what's your ideal roster size where quantity... You get basically quantity and quality at their most ideal states.
It depends on the package. It depends on like if you're asking about a $60 title,
sure.
I feel like you have to have at least X amount of characters. And for a $60 title, for me personally, I'd be happy.
I mean, MKX had 25 at the end? Yeah. Like, if you count Goro at the initial roster?
I don't think that there's any... I mean, you all know my opinions about MKX's roster, and they're popular as AF. I think for a $60, like, quote, AAA fighting game, you have to have at least 20 characters on the roster. Is that... But I've also said it before, I would love a fucking Mortal Kombat that was like a Killer Instinct-sized game. That was an arcade game, since that's what Mortal Kombat was at the beginning, that had 10 or 12 characters. I would love that shit. But again, that's not really what people want from Mortal Kombat. And I understand that. People love the giant compilation games, dude. They love Trilogy. They love Armageddon for those reasons alone. And I understand that. It's not for me, but I'm definitely not saying they're wrong. And like the fucking great Fran Drescher said in Spinal Tap, money talks and bullshit walks, and those games both sold Jesus. They both sold so well. Trilogy sold so well, it's so stupid. It's retarded, but it happened. So, I mean, you can't argue with it. It's just not what I like. But that thing I said before, jumping back to Duder Bro's question, Randy it was, Like I said, it depends on, as far as bringing back variations, like legacy variations, legacy gameplay for characters. Like I said, it depends on a couple of things. And like I said, if your end goal of bringing those back is bigger roster, I'm not into it. If you have another goal, though, then that's a different story. If you have a goal that is, just character familiarity, which I think is at least half of the reason why Injustice 2 does it. Injustice 2, like I said it a billion times, I think a big part of that is so people can jump in. If you've ever played Batman, if you've ever played Superman, in any Injustice, you can jump right in and feel at home. And I get that. It appeals to a much more casual audience because there are so many more superhero fans than there are fighting game fans. I get it. It's not a bad call on their part. For Mortal Kombat, I can see something like that maybe being applied, but nowhere near to that extent, because Mortal Kombat is a fighting game before it's, the other stuff, but it's also the other stuff to a big extent too now. So I get both sides of the argument, but then if you're going down that road, I also have to be like, well, what is it that you're really wanting to salvage from MKX specifically? Because there's a lot of things that a lot of people had problems with about MKX. Do you really want to bring that back, or do you really want to sit back and reconsider? Which I think might be better for MK11. I loved Injustice 2 Sub-Zero, and I didn't play Injustice 2 Raiden, so I don't know. But I know if Injustice 2 Raiden is anything like Injustice 2 Sub-Zero, reconsidering definitely benefited, and that still was an evolution of MKX, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not... I think that's not what I would do personally. Boy, I just talked a bunch. Temp, what do you think?
This has always been a hard question, just because I feel like no matter which one you do, you got to give something up. If we do the MKX Legacy, we'd have to remodel it so deeply. Like it'd have to be Frankenstein basically from the ground up. And I think you could do it. One solution is make the mix-ups non-cancelable. So Sub-Zero doesn't get a freeze after back 3 anymore. He just doesn't. I mean, it's now a true mix-up. You get pressure afterwards. But it's you no longer have a 50-50 combo opportunity. You gotta get rid of that shit. In MK9, I think they were trying to esports the game up, and they just didn't like the way MK9 functioned. Well, maybe not that. That may be a stretch. But they admitted, this is from the interviews, from the Twitch chats, Paulo said they did not like the way MK9 looked. They did not like the dash cancel. They thought it was awkward. So it's hard to have MK9 Legacy without the dash cancel, but God, I think there's a way where we can compromise. We can take some of the legacy from MK9 and the legacy from MK10 and get rid of the 50-50s. But if it were up to me, we would scrap it all. We'd start over and make a game closer to MK9 with sort of a new, more neutral-friendly gameplay engine. The problem is they're not good at balancing games. Well, that's not true. They're getting better. But if you make them start over, then we're going to have the same journey of broken bullshit, patch, new broken bullshit, patch, slightly more balanced with Firestorm. I don't want to go through that pattern again, so if you take... I feel like I lose either way. If we take the legacy route, the game will be way more balanced, but I'll have to put up with the problems I didn't like in MKX. But if we take the non-legacy route, we'll get a better engine with the lessons learned from Injustice 2 and MKX, but you're going to have Summoner Quan Chi lurking in the background, fucking everything up with Firestorm riding on his back. That's what I don't want, So,
but you got to pick one, man.
If I had to pick,
you got to pick. Them's the rules.
I would revamp it. If I had to pick, I would burn the palace down and start over. But that's me. I'd rather have a fun game than a balanced game, because we have enough balanced games. There's a lot of balanced games out there. Mortal Kombat, Injustice 2 is fairly balanced in my opinion. I want a game that I want to go back to play. If I was in the tournament scene still, this would be different. I'd want the balanced game instead. But these days, I feel like I have more to gain from the fun game. And maybe, to be fair, I'm probably not giving them enough credit. They probably could reinvent the wheel again, which they'd love to do anyway, and make it more balanced with the lessons learned, just based on methodology as opposed to experience. Great. I hope that's the case. But God, it's so resource heavy, reanimating everything, motion capturing everything all over again. That's a lot of work, and I don't want them to do it if they don't have to. So maybe if we can get a compromise between MK9 and MKX in terms of legacy, that's the way I'd want to go. But I don't think they're going to do that. I hope they do. But if I had to pick between those two evils, I would say reinvent the wheel, start over, burn down the house, rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, Cyborg, what was your pick between the two?
I leaned legacy, but I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to what are we gaining from each side. You know,
Yeah,
I agree with what Tem said and his logic his logic behind what he said, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I think Injustice 2 was Batman fun to play again? Was Green Lantern fun to play again? Like, anybody that was a legacy character, were they fun to play again? Did they change enough and did they fix enough about the character and did they add enough new things to make you have fun with that character?
they definitely weren't fun to fight again. Boy.
Temp, did you play a character in Injustice 1 and then revisit them in Injustice 2 and they're cool? They're good?
No, I don't believe I mean, let me pull up the fucking roster.
Well, you play Green Lantern, you know that part, that much.
Yeah, but he wasn't legacy though. They changed his gameplay. His strings were heavily legacy, but his specials were all revamped as far as I know.
And that's fine. And that's kind of where I'm coming from. Is what I suggest is if they do legacy, I don't want it to be like Batman, where it's like 90% the same character, 95% the same character. To me, I don't want that. I don't like that, because if that was my favorite character and they played say you take Katana and she plays almost the exact same way in MK11, it's like, well, shit, I already know how she plays, and yeah, I had a lot of fun, but I had my fill in MKX. What new are you offering me to make me re-fall in love with her gameplay? Like, I don't want to revisit the past. I want to, look forward to the future. So I'm not on board with that. But if you said, okay, what you loved about Katana from MKX, she's going to have some of those same specials with the same properties. She'll have some of her combo strings with the same setups and properties, but she's going to have 60% new or 70% new, whatever percentage you want to break it down. As long as a decent majority is new, that's all I care about. Because if you give me a little bit to make me feel familiar and comfortable with the character, and then you add enough new to make me potentially like her even more this time, then hey, I'm on board. And then if that saves you a little bit of resources, it saves you a little bit of time, and you can put that time elsewhere, be it more characters, getting more characters in and balancing them, or side modes, or make, whatever you're going to repurpose that time and resources into, I'm on board, because to me that works. I like that. So that said, I don't strongly lean in that direction. I'm fine with burning it all down and starting all over as they've done every other time. I'm cool with that. But when you do that, you also run the risk of the character you like a lot end up playing completely in a way that you didn't like, or what have you. And that's also dangerous as well. So I like the idea of just a small bit of familiarity. Like, give me one main combo that I can fall back on. Like, I like that combo. Give me a couple of her special moves that I like, Hell, give me one outfit that I really liked. I like classic outfits being included usually too. If you give me the MKX outfit again as an alternate, I'm cool with that. Hell, saved you some resources hopefully, and I get one outfit that I'm guaranteed to like with that character. So that's my thought on it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can flip it upside down as well. If you have a mostly returning character with 2 or 3 new things, even a new chain combo, or a new mid string, that, I think goes a long way. To answer Django's question, the only character I played in both games was Bane, and they souped him up so much in Injustice 2 I didn't even recognize him anymore. I played Lantern and Harley Quinn in Injustice 1. I did not play them in Injustice 2. I played Batman in Injustice 2, but I did not play them in Injustice 1. So it's very difficult for me to compare. Shazam was, of course, my main, but yeah.
That's a good point, though. So you said Bane was so souped up in Injustice 2 you didn't even recognize him anymore. You liked him in Injustice 1 a lot. I remember you talking about him. Did you like him in Injustice 2?
Not really, no. I didn't care for him much.
So then that was kind of my point, is if you change too much about a character, then you run the risk of no longer even wanting to play that character again. Whereas if you keep enough of the same things that you liked, be it 30%, 40%, it's not even about percentage, it's about what they kept that you liked about the character. If they keep those aspects that were really working for the character, but then they just add on to them and give him more options or give him more strings that he could potentially use or give what have you, more specials to work with. I don't know. That's where I'm coming from is, yeah, I feel like you can get away with cutting a few corners if you keep some of those things, and that can be a good thing. It doesn't have to be seen as a bad thing having some things remain.
My biggest problem with Bane was just his non-throw options were too good, in my opinion. It wasn't really about setting up the throw anymore. The throw was basically a bonus. They basically fucking turned him into MKX Jason. I fucking hate it. I really hate what they did to Bane. And in Justice 1, the throw was so good, and you were constantly trying to set that shit up. And there was the meta there that was interesting. I feel like both metas benefit Bane, the throw meta and the non-throw meta, and they made the character super boring that way. I think he's top 10, and just no one wants to put in the work, but whatever. But yeah, so that's my take. I mean, I lose either way, because it's hard to balance a completely new game that didn't exist before. And if we get Legacy back, then I risk bringing all the problems from MKX into MK11. I don't want to risk that either, so I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait and see. It's hard to hope for anything. My hope is actually more in Soul Calibur. Because if MK11 is bad, I'm hoping I have Soul Calibur to fall back on. And I only need one thing for Soul Calibur to be good. I need like 8 things for MK11 to be good. So here's to hoping.
Whoa. Yeah, I think I'd probably, like I said, agree with Temp on preferring just to start over with something new. But I definitely don't want to I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater entirely. But mostly, mostly new. Like, when I say mostly new, I mean, just let me throw the ice clone. And from there, just come on, do the rest new. That's cool with me.
And to clear the record, if MKX was a good game, like in any other franchise, I'm like, you can only have Legacy. Please don't reinvent the wheel. And if we're going from MK9 to MKX, I would say, please don't throw away MK9.
Yes.
Please bring that back. But this opinion hinges completely on the fact that I did not like MKX. It's the only reason I feel this way.
I am definitely making this choice 100% in context of MKX to MK11 here. This is not like an abstract, like, fighting games sequels in theory or legacy in theory. Like, this is just MKX to MK11, what I would think. And I mean, you know, that's the side I would err on. But no, it's not 100% either way. Either way, I am going to play it, and either way, I'm going to find a way to have fun with it. So that's not an issue. I just yeah, that's just the side that I would err on, I think. Good question again, Randy.
Yeah, good stuff, dude. Thank you for contributing.
Randy. Oh, you.
Randy.
Was there anything else that you guys wanted to add before we wrap it up?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Excellent. Fucking fantastic. This has been the best episode ever. I had a blast. It was really good. I'm not overselling it, am I?
A little bit.
No, I had a good time. Good times were had.
It's fucking great. Thank you guys for listening. It's been a pleasure. Come back next time. We're gonna fucking do so much more of this same level of awesome shit that everyone here is just effusive in their praise and pleasure. I'm sleepy. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time. Say bye, everybody.
Adios.
Peace.
No.